It's time for your SportsEdge.com Sideline Report with Todd Griffin. Talking sports and more here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY and worldwide at WPKYonline.com. Here's your host, Todd Griffin.
And good morning, everyone. The Sideline Report is on the air from 1035 West Main Street in Princeton. A busy show coming up today. We've got Caldwell County football coaches in the house with us this morning. Caldwell County head coach David Barnes is here. Also, Jeff Riley and Wayne McGowan in the studio with us today. Guys, good morning. Thanks for coming by.
Good morning. Thank you.
We're finishing up spring drills. Coach Barnes, how has the spring football practice gone?
We haven't been out full gear, but, it started in January when we came back from Christmas, and Coach Riley is running our weight program, has done a really good job of that. That's been, I think, very positive. Had quite a few kids coming through. Some kids we haven't had in there we needed in there, but I felt like our weight program has gone well so far. And then we got back from spring break, got out on the field a little bit, throwing the ball around, getting the kids moving around. We're going to be real young. Lost 22 seniors, so we're trying to. A lot of spots we got to replace. So, been pleased with what we got done so far.
And Jeff, you've been working, I think, with some of the linemen in practice. How are we looking up front?
Well, we're going to be young, I think. We've got one senior coming back with Luke, and then we've got Dalton Haney coming back as a center. So we're looking for three guys. I think we got a lot of potential. I think some of those guys that were freshmen last year, sophomores this year, going to be able to set in. Kids like we're looking at Angel Long and Drew Davis, and we're looking at Sam Toich, and probably some other kids that I can't pull off the top of my head right here. Gavin Board, those guys. We feel like those guys are going to come in and compete for a spot and give us a little bit of depth at the O-line that maybe we haven't had in the last couple of years.
Wayne, what's your area of expertise with this year's team?
Well, I do coach the running backs, and of course, over the years we've had some excellent running backs in this program, and you might hear a couple names that you're not familiar hearing. So like I said, we've had 22 seniors. We do have a little bit of depth, I'd say, coming back as running back. They're going to be young kids, but we'll have a couple, three kids, I think, will be back there and be able to tote the ball.
We're talking this morning with football coaches David Barnes, Jeff Riley, and Wayne McGowan. David Brown will be joining us a little bit later on. I see he's in the building as well. Ford Branch Jr. will be with us, so a whole lot to talk about on the Sideline Report today. We got to get to a timeout. We'll be back after this. You're listening to the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Need cash fast? Get the money you need. Call ABC Finance now.
As everything begins to bloom and spring is here, it should give you a spring in your step.
But if your finances have you concerned, it may feel like winter won't end.
Hi, this is Jody Lamb at the Princeton ABC Finance location.
And this is Todd Morris at the Hopkinsville location.
And we can help you get back on track in managing your finances.
At ABC Finance, we provide loans up to $15,000, and decisions are made quickly, usually within an hour.
Our commitment is to make the loan process quick, easy, and stress-free. We can even consolidate all loans into one easy payment.
No appointment is needed, and walk-ins are welcome.
You can even give us a call, and we will take your application over the phone.
Or apply online at abcfinanceonline.com.
And like ABC Finance on Facebook.
ABC Finance in Hopkinsville on Fort Campbell Boulevard next to O'Charlie's, and in Princeton Plaza. ABC Finance. All loans subject to normal credit approval.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, it just did. Big John's Barbecue in Princeton is offering delivery. They'll deliver lunch to you. You must be in a 3.5-mile radius with a minimum order of $8 plus a $1 delivery fee per order. You can now enjoy Big John's Barbecue for lunch delivered right to you, or stop by their location on South Jefferson Street. Call your lunch delivery orders in advance to 270-963-3785. Big John's Barbecue, Princeton.
Treasures Remembered Florist and Greenhouse, serving families in good times and bad times. They offer fresh bouquets and sympathy arrangements, custom wreaths and silk arrangements. They have a wonderful selection of gifts, sympathy items, unique wall art, frames and framed prints, birdhouses, candles, wind chimes, and more. Open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5, and Saturday, 8:30 to noon. Treasures Remembered Florist and Greenhouse, 600 West Locust Street, Princeton, serving Princeton and Caldwell County for over 100 years.
At Kentucky Homes Realty, real estate is their life, and sold is their favorite word. Kelly Mitchell, principal broker and owner, invites you to contact her office if you're looking to buy a home. They've teamed up with Movement Mortgage to provide a way for you to have the home of your dreams. Go to kyhomes247.com and find out exactly how much home you can afford. It takes less than 60 seconds to get the ball rolling.
This is Kelly Mitchell with Kentucky Homes Realty. Contact me and let's make this dream of yours a reality.
Back on the Sideline Report, a busy show today. Again, Colwell County football coaches David Barnes, Jeff Riley, and Wayne McGowan in the studio with us. And David Brown has joined us, Colwell County Youth Incorporated president. So all the mics are filled up in the studio. It's good to have her. David, thanks for joining us. And everybody talking a little football history during the break there.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a good history too. I mean, lots of wins, lots of memories, lots of victories. I have to say that it's picked up in the last few years with these guys, and looking forward to more to come.
Coach Barnes, I guess the big question heading into the fall is what do you do at the quarterback spot?
Well, quarterback spot, since we came here in 2006, there haven't been a lot of kids play quarterback because Will played it for 3 years, and we had a 2-year starter, a 4-year starter, and a 2-year starter. So
I was going to say you had a pretty good run of quarterbacks.
And, right now we got Russ Bashir and Jack Stevens working at the quarterback spot, and, Russ is a competitor. The thing with Russ is he's also one of our better defensive players, so, we got to figure out how we're going to work that situation out. But, with the competitiveness of us, and Russ is one of those kids that he gets out of the pocket, what's going to happen, he's going to run it.
Yeah.
And that's not bad because he does a pretty good job of that. So, he'll get better as more reps he gets, and we'll get some 7-on-7 underneath our belt this summer.
Well, that was one thing I was going to ask you about, and I always used to kind of ask you about is when you watch Tony Franklin's teams, he always has a running quarterback. Typically, you haven't had running quarterbacks.
Sindelar didn't get much credit for being a very good runner, but I remember against Mayfield, he went about almost 80 yards on a run. So he was a little bit faster than everybody thought. We just didn't run him a lot because of didn't want to get him banged up, but we felt like he could throw it pretty well, which he could, and but this offense, if you got a good running quarterback and can throw it a little bit, it makes you a lot more effective.
Jeff, what have you guys been working on as far as the linemen to try to get ready for this season?
Well, since we lost 3 guys, we've been working a lot of just basic, fundamental footwork stuff. We've really tried to focus on, taking the right steps. And when you hear this play call, this is the first thing you have to do, and getting yourself in position and on track, and not so much who to block, but how to block them. So that's kind of been our focus.
Wayne, you look at last year's team on the offensive side, a lot of playmakers. How do we go about trying to replace some of those guys?
Yeah, that's going to be tough right off the bat. I mean, we understand that going in, but like I said, we have some young guys coming in, and just in the few days of spring we've gone out, and I think Coach Riley, at the end of practice one day, talked to the kids and said from day 1 to I think we're on day 8 or so, and said there's been some vast improvements in several of you. And, I've seen that as well. I've been working with Will with the receivers, and we've got a lot of balls in there this last 3 weeks at practice. And, I've seen, a couple young kids catch the ball pretty well and have good hands. So, it's just their time. It's your time, and, you have to step up. That old cliche, but it is. It is true. And, it's time for these guys to turn it on and get ready to play some ball this fall.
It does seem like there were a lot of guys working out at the receiver spots.
Yeah, we had of that bunch, there's probably 2 running backs in there that we're probably going to peg as running backs, and the rest of those kids are the receivers, and it's a pretty good group of them. So and we got 1 or 2 that's not there with other sports or what have you, but I think we're going to have a pretty good crop of guys to pick from, and it's going to be pretty competitive. And like I said, the spots are essentially wide open with the loss of so many kids.
I'm not sure everybody appreciated last year sometimes how good those receivers were.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be dearly missed. Just as a group, you couldn't single up on one guy. You had different receivers. Newsom was a tough, get the first down, run through 5 or 6 guys and pack them and drag them. And, of course, Oliver did his thing. He can beat you deep. And Then you throw in Jameer and Trail, at times, short passes and make things happen.
Tough to defend you, though, Coach Barnes, when you've got all those guys running around out there and, again, some pretty good talent in that team last year on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, we returned quite a few starters on the offensive side, and the thing I really liked was if you take the 2 years that Joey was at quarterback, and you look at our receivers, there wasn't but 2 or 3 catches separating our top 3 receivers. So Joey did a really good job of distributing the ball, getting the ball to different people, and that's very helpful. If one year when Tez had like 70-some catches, I think his senior year, even though that happened, he still was making catches, making plays, but it's a lot better when you get the ball to different people. And, that's one thing we did a really good job with Joby. And, losing Joby's going to be big. He came in and took over for 2 years and had a really good career, and we're really going to miss him.
A couple of years ago, I think your top 3 receivers all had the same number of catches.
That's right. That's I bet that hadn't happened very often.
But you've had some good receivers come through, and like you guys have mentioned, time now for somebody else to kind of step into that role.
Yeah, in this offense, being a receiver in this offense is a lot different than just running a route. You got to know how to run a route, how to beat people with space, how to set yourself up, and be able to get off press coverage. So that's a lot of stuff we really worked on in this spring. Is those little fundamentals that mean a lot that'll hopefully pay off for us.
And blocking downfield, I guess, is a big deal, too.
Yeah, to be effective in this offense, you got to be able to run the screens, be able to run the ball, and if our receivers can't block, then they can't play.
Looking ahead, what kind of work are you guys doing this summer to get ready for the season?
Well, I think Will talked about this yesterday when you talked to him, is that June's going to be big for us because of how young we are. We're going to try to get a lot of stuff implemented in June, and that way when we come back in July, we'll be ready to roll. Because with the rule is we can't do any 7-on-7 in June, so everything has to be against ourselves. So we got to really focus on getting better on offense, on getting a lot of reps, getting Russ and Jack a lot of reps, and the receivers a lot of reps.
Got a tough way to start the season. Christian County the opener, and then I think Owensboro Apollo the next week. Do you know who your scrimmage is going to be against yet?
Well, right now we're going to go against Madisonville. I think it's a 3-way deal or something. Right now, that other one's up in the air.
Okay. Are we going to try to play 2 scrimmages this year?
You try to, yes.
Hopefully one of them at home?
Yes.
I always like the home games. Again, looking ahead to this fall, what kind of new things can we expect? I know you've said the 40-second play clock is one of the things that's going to come in.
Yes, and I think is a good change. You get games. We get those referees that don't get in a hurry spotting the ball, and the quarterback goes over the sideline, walks back to the huddle, and then they start the clock. That's a lot of time going off the clock. So that will eliminate that.
I know a lot of people probably think that the 40-second clock, used to have a 25-second clock, but it's all dependent upon when the ball is spotted. Before, like you said, you had to wait for the referee, and that was kind of up to the discretion of the guy that was back there with the whistle, and now the play clock starts as soon as the previous play ends, right?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just coming in from the outside, it seems like the last several years we would graduate a great group of seniors, and I would hear guys talking on the golf course or wherever we were, it's all going to depend on this and that. And the truth of the matter is looking in from the outside, and you guys can correct me, it sort of all starts up front. And guys will say, we're really young up there, but these guys do a tremendous job developing people, young men that will give the quarterback the opportunity to have the time to make the throw or let the receiver run their route and find the space. And that's been really fascinating to me to watch our line do what they do and give the playmakers the opportunity.
And the unfortunate thing, and you guys can talk about this too, if you're a lineman on offense especially, there's not a whole lot of glory in that position. It's probably the most important spot out there, but you don't really get the glory that maybe some of the other
where
positions
we
would.
can get them pumped up is on screens. And we got Big Ben down the field last year. You got his picture paper.
Just
When you
let
get
'em
Big
hit
Ben down the
somebody.
field on screen in front of somebody, that's
That is exciting.
That's exciting.
for us.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting for all of us.
Give him a chance to hit somebody running full speed. too.
All those DBs don't want a part of it. 6'4", 320 coming at you.
Step right out of the way.
But with our offensive line, I had a phone call from a ex-coach. He said he's going to come down here and teach us how to run the football, and that we don't have any more quarterbacks. And I said, well, you looked at our offensive line? And he said, yeah. I said, all we got to do is try to stay in front of somebody when we pass block and get the ball out and get somebody can make a play. And so he's still wanting to come down here and teach us how to run the football, but I don't think we're going to do that.
I could probably guess on who that former coach is.
He was great. He was a good football coach. If we were big up front, we might listen to it.
That's right.
But again, the lineman, sometimes the only time you hear the lineman mentioned, whether it's on the radio or whatever, on TV, if you're watching the game, it's when they mess up. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they
a
miss
tough
a
position.
block.
Yeah.
You have a sack.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for
I
those
think-
guys.
that is true. But I tell you what, these kids have kind of bought into that mentality a little bit. And one of the I think the ingenious things about the offense and the way that Coach Barnes has us teach this thing is it's simple. I mean, there are probably, we run a lot of complicated stuff, and you look at it and you look at all the stuff Russ has to remember and all that stuff. But with the lineman guys, if you got 5 or 6 things that you can just remember, and then we just rep those 5 or 6 things throughout the year. I mean, you get some game plan adjustment stuff, but for the most part, if we can get them to where, they're taking the right step, they're passing guys off, they're identifying fronts, the rest of it kind of takes care of itself a little bit. And I think that's kind of just part of the advantage of having this style of offense as opposed to having to remember all those running plays
but
Coach Barnes was
having
talking about.
having a chip on their shoulder that, hey, you may not read your name in the
Right,
paper,
right. But you still the
the
man.
that W
Yeah,
right,
right.
there's got your name on it. Your name starts with a W,
right.
and you're the one that's making it happen.
Exactly.
The biggest unit on the field, right? Only unit's got 5 guys on the field.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are obviously doing something right, though, up front in offense, because we've had a bunch of guys go play college football from that spot.
We've had some good guys. We've had a pretty good starting kind of just off the top of my head with Jordan and Cameron Warfield. And Jordan Felker, went on and played. We kind of felt like he's one of the better guys, and we've had some guys go up. Who else? Am I missing somebody? Kyler. Oh, that's right. Kyler went and played 4 years at Georgetown. So we've had some guys that can play as well, but I think it kind of starts with, we don't always anticipate that. I think we kind of anticipate Elijah and D being those guys.
Right.
But in Jordan Felker's case, he was just a guy that was a good athlete, was kind of banged up, and then he kind of come on and played outstanding. I think Kyler was very similar. He's kind of we knew he was going to be a big, strong kid, and then Cameron was just a warrior. He just come in and talk about a chip on your shoulder. Cameron Warfield played with a chip. He was looking to punish people out there. So
And I will never forget Coach G's put in this special defense for the Mayfield game, and I came up from like the safety spot and was gonna rush the quarterback, and it was Ray Keith. Ray Keith Mathis, and I was looking so forward to hitting that sucker, and there was this little bitty runt in front of me, and I knew I was gonna take him.
Yeah.
And so, called the play, here I go, and I guess my eyes were big or I was licking my lips, something. He knew I was going, but that sucker got me below my waist, and he's still blocking me. So I don't know what it is about the technique or what you guys teach, but there's something. It really, yes, size matters up front, I'm sure, and strength.
Yeah.
But a determination and a fundamental technique to be able to move guys or to keep them in front of you, that taught me a lesson that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And Coach Aaron McClung was always big on technique. That was his thing, technique. And with those linemen, and like Coach Barnes said, you guys teach it just a little differently because of the system, but those guys have all been pretty good too.
Yeah. And the other thing is I thought we didn't have an offensive lineman, and since we've been here, it has to go both ways. And we spot played some of those offensive line on defense, but none of them are two-way starters, and that helps us because of the pace that we try to play.
You guys mentioned earlier Elijah Sindelar's at Purdue, D. Canes at Western Kentucky, Jalen Boyd's at Lindsey Wilson, and from what I understand, all those guys have been granted an extra year of eligibility, so that's pretty unique that all those guys are going to end up getting basically a sixth year to play.
I like what you said on the radio the other day about Elijah. He said he got a sixth year. He hoped to take that and have a great year this year and get an NFL draft.
Oh, that'd be great.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. Coach Chris Hatcher was a great friend of mine at Murray State, and he used to get mad if they didn't get off 100 plays. I wonder with this new 40-second clock if there's a number of plays that you want to get in as an offense. That the more he always said, the more snaps you got, the more yards you would you would accrue.
Right.
So more chances to score. That's going to be interesting, that 40-second.
Well, there's a couple of competing things there, especially if you look at college football, though. You know, coaches, especially those who are part of the Tony Franklin system and are trying to go fast and get a lot of plays in. However, the people who make the rules are trying to limit the number of plays, it appears. Right. So from a safety standpoint is the reason they use. So it's kind of an interesting thing going on there. You know, coaches are trying to run more plays. The people who make the rules are trying to get less plays. You know, we even saw that this week. I think they changed the overtime rules in college football. Yeah. Where now if you go past 4 overtimes, you just run 2-point plays until somebody wins.
Oh, my.
So
that's interesting.
Another thing that's evolved, too, as a result of the throwing game is RPOs, run-pass options. And with a 5-man crew, it's hard to, I guarantee there's probably been times where we've got linemen downfield and we've completed a pass off of a run-pass option, and coaches are complaining about that. So the push to go to a 7-man crew is to help eliminate that, and which I don't know if it will or not. But, run-pass option is something that Tony talked about 5 or 6 years ago that we were doing then that a lot of teams started doing here in the last few years.
Well, haven't they even approached that in the rules process in the NCAA to where your linemen can't get downfield quite as quick now?
Yes.
So I wonder if that's going to come to high school at some point. But that's a big thing. I mean, the reason you throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage is so your lineman can go ahead and get downfield and block.
Right.
And that's a big selling point.
Exactly.
They want to add 2 referees or something to cover for the fat boys having to run so much, or what is it? And you better not comment. That's a bad question. That I didn't know. Wow, that 40-second and all of the run-pass option details is complicated.
Football is an ever-evolving sport. And the safety issues always coming into play, too.
Yeah.
That's true.
You mentioned earlier I got to talk to Will Barnes yesterday, who is the offensive coordinator, and we'll have that up on yoursportsedge.com a little bit later on today. But you said Will's actually going to work one of Tony Franklin's camps this summer.
He's going to a clinic that Tony's putting on in San Marcos, Texas. There's 7 offensive coordinators going to be at that clinic, some high school. Tony's promoting it as one of the biggest events he's ever done and one of the biggest events ever because it's all people doing run-pass option and running our stuff. And he's going to go in there for 2 days.
Well, I was hoping he would show up today so I could ask him about Game of Thrones. I mean, who
We'll
all watches?
Not I.
Coach McClung. Will, Coach McClung, and Sarah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Well, Jeff, we're down to only 4 episodes.
I know. That's it's kind of been a slow build-up, though.
Well,
I'm anticipating episode 3 being pretty big because 1 and 2 are kind of just like reacquainted, I guess.
Yeah. Well, even the entire series, though, it seems like the first, whatever it was, 6 or 7 seasons was kind of this long build, and now the last season, it seems like it's going to be jammed into 6 episodes, and we're going to bring everything, try to wrap it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be. I hope the last few are going to be fun. The people you like aren't going to survive it, so it's fun to guess who's going to be around at the end.
And anybody going to go watch Endgame? Endgame's out tonight, Avengers movie.
We'll
I know you guys
are
big Avengers fans.
I'll see it eventually. I don't know if we'll see it. we'll catch up on it. I tell you, my brother-in-law's a huge, so I got to go watch it so I can talk to him about some of the games in town.
Well, I know you guys have got to get out of here and get back to school, but anything else?
Tomorrow night at McCracken County High School, our West Kentucky Coaches Conference is having a combine, which D1 coaches cannot be there, but a lot of your smaller schools like Kentucky Wesleyan, Lindsey Wilson, Campbellsville, those guys, a lot of those coaches will be able to be there. And I think last year there were well over 100 guys that competed in that, and that'll be our schools and our conference, West Kentucky Conference. It'll start at 6 o'clock at McCracken County High School.
All right, good deal. Appreciate you guys coming by today, and thanks for all the information.
All right, thank you, man.
That's head coach David Barnes and coaches Jeff Riley and Wayne McGowan here in the studio with us this morning on the Sideline Report. Still got David Brown staying with us, and Ford Branch Jr. is going to join us in just a bit. So more to come on the Sideline Report after we get to this timeout. You're listening to the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Showers and thunderstorms are expected today with a high today of 71. More showers and thunderstorms overnight with an overnight low around 52. Now Friday's going to clear up with partly sunny skies and a high of 69. Mostly clear Friday night with an overnight low around 45. There's a 30% chance of showers for Saturday with a cool high of 69. Showers do continue on Saturday night with the low dipping down to 49. Cooler daytime temperatures on Sunday with sunny skies with a high only getting around 66. Again for today, scattered showers and thunderstorms possible with a high of 71.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Herb Hayes Furniture.
The week of the 8th this month was National Work Zone Awareness Week, but your friends at Penny Ryle Electric feel like that's a message worth repeating all month long. And as Penny Ryle Electric line workers and road crews do their jobs to help you and our community, we ask you to do your part to help them. Keep Penny Ryle's employees, your passengers, and yourself safe. Work zones can be frustrating, especially when you're in a hurry, but these brave line crews are just doing their job, ultimately to serve you. Let's return the favor so everyone makes it home.
Do you suffer from chronic pain, sleep problems, depression, or anxiety? For many people, CBD has been the answer. But just because many businesses are selling CBD doesn't mean they're the experts. Princeton Drugstore has the education to back all the answers to your questions about CBD. If you're ready to find out how to incorporate CBD into your daily routine and finally get relief from your problems, ask the CBD experts at Princeton Drugstore. Princeton Drugstore, standing the test of time.
And we're back on the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Want to tell you about Dave's Deal of the Week at U-Ride in Princeton. It's a 2000 Ford Ranger, 120,000 miles, red, automatic, just $5,000. See Dave for details at U-Ride in Princeton. That's U-Ride, 310 Marion Road. Telephone 270-365-3215. The Sideline Report continues here on 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Thanks for joining us this morning. Lots to get to. Again, the football coach is with us this morning, and Coach David Barnes staying with us. David Brown still here. Ford Branch Jr. joins us. Ford Wayne, thanks for coming on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
David Brown, the Youth Incorporated season gets underway next week, so a busy time for Caldwell County Youth Incorporated.
None of it really stops, Todd. I mean, you know that. Coach Barnes and his staff have been super in helping us continue to grow the Junior Pro Football League. And that we hope that provides them some level of success when those kids get to the high school level. So, we're working on Junior Pro Football right now, and baseball season's going to start on Monday. Mm-hmm. And I had talks and met with different ones this week about basketball. So it's a great time, and it's an honor to be a part of those kids' lives. I'll say that.
Well, then we need to start golf. We need to have some Youth Incorporated golf.
I brought it up at the meeting, and I'm looking forward to it happening. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised that you didn't see it available next year.
Absolutely. We need to get people out on the golf course playing. And Coach Barnes, I know Youth Incorporated helps get those kids ready for you when they come through the football program.
one of the things that has impressed me since I came here is, and I knew it because I was in Owensboro and they always had that
Jamboree
at Thanksgiving time. And Colorado always came out, Coach Kuhio would bring those guys up there, and they were very competitive. Mm-hmm. And I know Will was playing for one of the teams up there at Owensboro. We played the Caldwell County team, and my dad and mom over there, and Danny Silver told Dad he couldn't get back into Princeton if we beat him, and we beat him in the last few seconds of the game to win that game. But, with the football side of it, the Youth Incorporated is a building block for us. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be where we are with our program at the high school. Then that carries on into the middle school, and we're looking at numbers. And this year in our senior class, we only got 6 guys coming back. For some reason, something happened to some of those guys. But we graduated 22 last year. That's what we want, and part of that is attributed to the Youth Incorporated. The biggest thing I thought they did, and some people disagree, is going to 2 teams. Getting those kids a lot more chances to play and keep them.
I agree with that.
Even though, you're going to say, well, we may get beat by somebody that has one team. As we go through middle school and high school and those kids come together, it helps us out tremendously.
Well, yeah, because you're developing 2 quarterbacks in each age group and 4 running backs and a truckload of receivers and linemen. So getting to play, I think, is the big thing for youth sports. I mean, that's whatever sport it is.
A lot of people would say that, football, you're going to get hurt. And more people get hurt playing soccer than they do football. And they've gone to great lengths. It starts at the Youth Incorporated level. I was telling you on the break, we've reconditioned all of our helmets, and we do that every single year. Instead of tackling one another, we've bought I don't know how many tackling donuts, and so it's not about football. To me, is a great way. It may be the best way to build a team concept for kids of a youth age, and when you spend day after day sweaty in the sun, and then you get a chance to hit the fall with a group of guys that you've hung out with, you've run, you've cried, you've bled. It builds something that never goes away, and there's still a group of guys. I still meet with them the last weekend in July. We get together every year, and it all started in the equipment room down at the Butler, and we will continue to get together until the day we die, good Lord willing. So I highly encourage people to come out. Their kid is not going to get hurt because of football if they do the right thing and do it the right way.
Well, I got hurt playing baseball and basketball and riding my motorcycle, so it was all about the same for me.
Growing up.
Well, just to chime in on what David's saying, I mean, I got a son, Tripp, who plays football and basketball. Has played through the Youth Incorporated football system since 3rd grade, 3rd, 4th grade, 5th, 6th grade. Played middle school football, 7th, 8th grade. Never has been injured, knock on wood, in football. But the last 2 years as a freshman and sophomore in basketball, he's battled ankle injuries. He's battling one now. So, I mean, it's like you said, it's any sport you play, there's gonna be injuries involved. And you just, again, knowing how to block, knowing how to play, knowing, your surroundings, keeping your eyes out, what's going on. I mean, it's just, you can get injured in any type of sport. Like I said, you would think, again, a lot of perception is football, you're going to get injured a lot more. My son's been injured a lot more playing basketball. So I mean, it's going to happen any sport you're in, depending on the circumstance.
One thing football is doing, and I think a lot of sports are really looking into this, is trying to add every safety precaution they can.
And they've done it. And Coach Barnes and his staff have come to, our coaches' training at Youth Incorporated. We are adamant about the safety of the kids. As a matter of fact, I think we had gone in a younger direction to try and get more kids involved at the youth level. And if I'm not mistaken, Todd, that we're probably going to do more of a flag level for those young kids so that they can begin just to get the feel for it. And, the tackling and the blocking and all of that will come a little later as their bodies develop. But another great side of the football picture beginning at the youth level is these kids get stronger. You know, I'm a baseball guy, so I've seen it. But the guys that played football always were stronger than the guys that didn't go through a summer lifting weights, playing something else. And that kind of stuff is going to make you a better person for the rest of your life. I mean, that regiment, getting your body in shape. So lots of good things to it. I hope kids will take advantage of it.
Well, one of the things with baseball and softball coming up, and you know, things have been in the news, and one of the emphasis I think this year will be the abuse of umpires will not be tolerated throughout the whole league, which includes Caldwell and Crittenden and Lyon County and Trigg County and Dawson Springs, and that's probably something that is overdue.
We've got a contract for the parents. We've got contracts for the coaches. And we are going to uphold it. We'll have someone on staff there to escort people out that want to yell. I used to like it when they yelled at me because it meant that they were watching. But, I mean, Fort Wayne at his level, when, you know, it probably gets old, and there's no place for it. What in the world is one call going to do to change a game? And these these people come and umpire our games. So there's a no tolerance policy there. Another thing that with baseball and softball this year, instead of having like an 8-game season and doing a travel section, if you would, all-star tour, we're going back to 12 and 14 games, and I'm really excited about that. I think we kind of lost our flavor, and we want to make it about recreational sports. We want to make sure that the young people get the opportunity to play as many games as they can during their season. And so those two things, the no tolerance policy with the umpires and the extended schedule, are what people can expect from youth baseball and softball this summer.
And Fort Wayne, maybe you can speak more about that topic from the official standpoint, because first of all, congratulations. You got to call the NAIA National Championships again in basketball. Yeah. I don't think people realize how many people from Caldwell County officiate sports, right, especially at the college level. But from an official standpoint, what do you see as far as fans' behavior getting out of hand, and how do officials try to handle that?
Well, for the most part, like I said, I've been doing this over 20 years now. You know, starting out actually Youth Incorporated, officiating with my dad. You know, coming up as a young kid, and then obviously going to high school basketball, now on to college. But you can tell, I mean, even then, it's always been, you've always had parents who, you know, are vocal, and which is okay. I mean, I've come to learn. I kind of tease during basketball season. I kind of block stuff out because, I mean, I've been at games at Murray State where obviously people are going to know who I am because of where I'm from and people I know, and they say they yell my name and this, that, and I never hear it. So, I mean, most good officials will block out what they don't need to hear. I mean, our focus is on the players, the coaches, and what we need to be focused on. But, again, over the past few years, you've seen it happen where instances, you know, not so much maybe at college games, but, you know, more so maybe at high school games or AAU-type games or athletic events where fans just seem to kind of get a little out of control and go overboard. And, you know, at that point, you know, it's sad to say, but all these events now have to have some type of security. I know my son played at one at Disney last year at the AAU Internationals, and they had an instance that happened, and I know they've bulked up security now too, just because of that. So, I mean, it's just a point. I mean, it's going to happen. I mean, you get fans. I mean, they're passionate about the game. They're passionate about their kids playing, but, you know, when they step on the court, that's when it gets out of control, and that's when, you know, obviously, like David's saying, that actions have to be taken. There's got to be policies in place for reprimands and for punishment, and, you know, to get people like that out of the gym, out of that circumstance, because it's just not good for the kids to see that happening. I mean, I don't have any problem with fans being passionate about their teams and being vocal, because most of the time I block that out. But when they start, you know, verbally abusing or getting personal or, you know, interacting, trying to come on the floor, that's when obviously it can't be tolerated.
The guy down in Paducah, you know, we were going to have the little preseason jamboree. I don't know all the details of it, but the AAU referee there in Paducah that, evidently took a beat down. And so, yeah, that kind of stuff is out of control. I mean, I'm passionate and I'm loud, and it's just a part of my makeup. But the one thing that I want to be known for, if I'm going to be passionate and I'm going to be loud as a fan, I want it to be something that's positive. You can yell and it can still be positive.
To me, one of the most difficult things in sports, though, is that, the emotion thing is great, and whether you're playing sports or watching it, that emotional attachment is so great, but it can get away from you, and we've all been there. We've all officiated and been yelled at, and we've all played and coached and got upset with officials. Yeah. So it's just. And
there's no doubt. With me as an official, I struggle with that too now. When I go watch my kids play, I mean, I've got to be more cognizant of what's going on, and I see it. But then it's hard for me because it's definitely hard in basketball because I know the rules, and when they're not implemented, it's really tough to sit and watch.
It would be great. Go ahead.
No, but like I said, you got to know where to draw the line. Like I said, it's one thing to be hollering, yelling, but then when you start physically, verbally abusing an official, or come to physical contact, that's just not tolerated. And of course, in the college system, we're well taken care of. I mean, we have escorts, 2 from the floor, 2 from our vehicle. I mean, it's the college system, and I think high school for the most part has gotten much better too, just because of things that have happened. But I never feel unsafe in any of my collegiate games at this point. I mean, again, you get yelled at. There's things happening, people that don't like you, but that's just part of the game. But as far as safety, I feel real safe in all the environments I'm in at this point.
I wonder we should. Do you need to get to a break?
Yeah, I got one more break. I got to get knocked out here. So.
Knock it out.
We're talking this morning with Ford Branch Jr. and David Brown, and Coach David Barnes still in here with us. So we've got more to go on the Sideline Report. We'll be back with more right after this on 1580 103.3 WPKY.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Showers and thunderstorms are expected today with a high today of 71. More showers and thunderstorms overnight with an overnight low around 52. Now Friday's going to clear up with partly sunny skies and a high of 69. Mostly clear Friday night with an overnight low around 45. There's a 30% chance of showers for Saturday with a cool high of 69. Showers do continue on Saturday night with the low dipping down to 49. Cooler daytime temperatures on Sunday with sunny skies with a high only getting around 66. Again for today, scattered showers and thunderstorms possible with a high of 71.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Jeff Russo, attorney at law.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
Our loyal listener Big Deals are here, and they're ready to save you big money. The Big Deal store is open 24/7 for you to gift certificates to local businesses at huge discounts. Would you believe it if I told you you'll get an even bigger discount this week? To celebrate our grand opening, take an additional 10% off your entire order now through this Friday. Go to WPKYonline.com and click on Loyal Listener Big Deals.
We're back on the Sideline Report on a Thursday morning at 1580 103.3 WPKY. Coach David Barnes had to head on out. We thank the football coaches for joining us today, but Ford Branch Jr. still in the studio with us, as is David Brown. And Ford, Wayne, talk about a little bit about officiating college basketball and which conferences are you kind of affiliated with now?
Okay. Obviously, right now I'm based in the Division I. I'm in the Conference USA, the Missouri Valley, and the Ohio Valley Conference. I still do Division II, which is in the GLVC. So schools like Southern Indiana, Bellarmine, those are some of the powerhouse schools, Division II level. And then, of course, the NAI, I still referee in the Mid-South, which is your Lindsey Wilson, Campbellsville, Georgetown, which we have some obviously people represented at all those schools in a lot of different sports at Caldwell County. But but it's like I said, it's been now 15 years. I guess I've been doing college ball, getting close to 15 years. I've been Division I now for about 10. So, but each level is a lot of fun. Like you said, you mentioned earlier, the NAIA, I've been in that since 2007. And last 2 years, I've gotten to go to the NAIA National Tournament, which is a blast. I mean, it's great basketball. I mean, the kids are great, good players. A lot of times you have a lot of kids who go Division I, doesn't work out, come back to NAIA because they can play immediately. And, I mean, the basketball level is outstanding. And it's just been a lot of fun for me. I mean, it's something, I grew up playing, played here at Caldwell County. And, obviously my dad was an official, kind of got my foot in the door, and just – always enjoyed it. Always liked being around the game, so it always kind of kept me in the game. I feel like to some point, because I played collegiate golf. I didn't play collegiate basketball. Would have liked to have, but it's just been something that's been able to continue my love of basketball. And
Can you think of any time? I've often wondered, because I umpired high school a little bit when I tore my shoulder up, and I can remember some guys pitching that I called, and I thought, oh my God, nobody's going to hit this kid. Have you ever gotten caught up watching some of these kids just for a brief second thinking, wow, he can play?
There's no doubt. I mean, high school level, I'm trying to go back to thinking. It's been several years. I finished out 2011, 2012. I did the state tournament, which, again, talking about the officiating, is one of the thrills of my life, was doing the Sweet 16. I mean, it's
great basketball.
20,000 fans, coming to watch a high school final. It's a pretty good deal. But as you're saying about players, I mean, I remember, obviously, I'm trying to think we've had a lot of good players come out of the second region, and of course I got to referee a lot of kids that played up at the state tournament as well that went on to college. But Scotty Hobson was one from UHA who it was phenomenal talent. He's actually, I think this year, he's battled through, playing in Europe, playing professionally, and now back, he made the NBA roster this year, actually. So, I've seen a lot of good high school kids. I mean, and there's no doubt you get caught up watching certain ones. And now, obviously, in the college level, I've seen a plethora of good talent. I mean, I've been blessed to, being the OVC, where the last few years, I mean, Murray State's had Isaiah Cannon, who's went to the NBA, Campaign, who's gone this year. I mean, John Morant, I had, 4 games with Murray this year, I think. And, I mean, those are ones that you got to be careful, like you said, getting caught watching, because, I mean, when you see somebody like that can play as high level as they can, and you understand why he's going to be a top 2 or 3 pick in the NBA, because he just does things on the floor that are phenomenal. I mean, you're sitting there, I'm watching the game, doing my duties as an official, but when you see a pass he makes, or when you're not expecting it, or his teammates aren't expecting, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's just, and there's so many good players in all the conferences. Whether it's Conference USA, Missouri Valley, OVC. I mean, the players each year just get so much bigger, better, stronger, quicker, faster. But what's funny to me is that people always talked about how hard it would be to referee Division I basketball, and actually, I think it's the easiest level I've ever officiated, because the players play, they're good. The coaches coach. I mean, and if you upset a coach gets upset about something, you've probably missed something, kicked something, so that's what's nice about the Division I and even Division II. Any college basketball, the coaches know how to coach, the players know how to play, and we just we try to media. I mean, I try to let the players play as much as we can, as the rules are written. But it's, getting back to your question, I mean, the talent level, it just gets better each year, and it's fun to be around and fun to watch.
When you're trying to put together a schedule for the basketball season and you have all your conference affiliations, do they try to keep you relatively close to home, or how do you go about picking out which games you get to call each year?
Well, it's kind of I guess regional. I mean, I think my coordinators try to do a pretty good job of keeping you. I'm not on any West Coast swings. I'm not in the Pac-10 or Big West or Big Sky. So I mean, I'm not having to worry about that. But yeah, I mean, they do. They try to put you in swings. So if you have a game on a Thursday night, somewhere, and they want you somewhere on Saturday, they're going to try to keep you more geographically, in your area. But it can. I mean, you could fly out to. I could have to go to Southern Miss on a Thursday, and then be back at Murray State on a Saturday. So it's, most of my games are. I do Thursday, Saturdays, but I mean, I'll go where they want me to go. But I mean, and over the years, I mean, I've been as far out the West Coast to do these bracket buster games. So I mean, it just depends. But I think they do try to keep you. Good thing for me in my conferences, Conference USA obviously is a lot more spread out. I mean, you've got schools in Texas, Florida, all over. But Missouri Valley. It's more of a Midwest, but the OVC, I mean, I'm within 3.5 hours of all 12 schools. So I mean, it's that. I mean, I would almost rather a lot of times have more games in that conference just because with my daily with working, I can get to those games. Travel is not as hard as having to take a flight and go somewhere. But the coordinator's pretty good. I mean, it's each year, you want to get more games. I mean, they'll go every year. Like I said, I'm actually leaving tonight to go to a camp in Dallas for it's Big 12 because the guy I work for, Curtis Shaw, is over the Big 12, Conference USA, Missouri Valley, OVC, Southland. So you go to a conference, it's a big AAU tournament. I'm going to try to get more games. I mean, I'm trying to get, obviously a goal would be the Big 12. I mean, that would be, next in his consortium would be the goal. But you go to get more games, to get better. It's kind of like a clinic for me. I have the NCAA veteran officials will be there watching us, and they critique us and evaluate us. And, of course, I kind of the check in the box going that way. I keep getting my schedule, and but try to improve my schedule each year. So it's a continuous process. I mean, it's just, from year to year, you just try to get more games and, do the best you can and stay in shape. And it's a lot of fun.
Do you know how many from here are calling college sports now?
I'm trying to think. I know, obviously, at Division I level, with me, and of course, doing other levels. Well, Kelly Davis is still, he's. I just saw him this weekend. I don't know if he's sure if he's going to this camp this week, but I know he'll be going to one of them. He's in it. I'm trying to think. In Princeton, if there's anybody else that's doing football, baseball, anything at this point, I'm at a loss right now, but I know Kelly and I have kind of gone through the system together over the years. And, of course, his dad officiated a long time in, men's and women's college sports. My dad did the same back, in the 80s, 70s. So there's been several. I mean, there's been several over the years that have been in it.
I don't think everyone realizes, maybe they don't, because it doesn't get the publicity like the players get, but there have been a ton of people from Caldwell County who have called high school sports, are still calling high school sports. I mean, sometimes we get caught up and we look around and we're like, hey, look at all the coaches that came from Caldwell County. Look at all the players out there. There's a ton of officials from Caldwell County as well.
Well, there's no doubt. We've had a lot of officials, that have done state tournaments, girls' state tournaments, boys' state tournaments. So there's no doubt. And like I said, that it's not publicized as much, and which you don't want to be. I mean, like I said, I don't want to be. Like I said, when I go to games, the best time I can go through a ball game is when I've not heard anybody say anything or they don't say anything to us. I mean, I want to be invisible, and that's hard as an official because going on to the court, you're not going to make everybody happy. You got a 50-50 chance of making one side happy, one side not happy. And so again, you just try to go in, call the game, be consistent, and call the rules as written, as the coaches and players as we teach them to play. And the main thing is just being consistent. Try to be consistent at both ends, and that way, nobody has any reason to complain.
This is the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3, WPKY, Princeton, Kentucky. Ford Branch Jr. in the studio with us, and David Brown with us this morning, and Caldwell County football coaches were with us earlier. Thanks to those guys for coming in. And Ford Wayne, you get to see sports from a lot of different angles, like you mentioned. Got a boy that plays sports. I'm guessing you've been to a lot of middle school soccer games this year as well, so you get to see it from a whole lot of different angles.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. I mean, it's busy. Of course, like I said, with what I do, it keeps us hopping. I mean, we've got a son that's in, he's injured. He got an injury right now, but we're supposed to be playing AAU basketball. I mean, like I said, with Coach Barnes, he's asking about how Tripp's feeling, how he's doing. We got football coming up soon as well. I've got a daughter that plays, and they've all come up through the Youth Incorporated system, which is awesome. I mean, we're blessed, in this community to have that outlet, for our kids to come up through. Because I mean, I've got a younger one, a 6-year-old Trendon, who starts baseball Monday night. So, but all my kids have gone through this system in some way or form, and it's just good. I mean, like I said, I've got a daughter that's played volleyball. She's soccer. I mean, she played softball coming up as well. But it's a continuous grind. I mean, David knows this too with his kids that have gone through. It's never ending. When I came up, I mean, I felt like it was, you went season to season, and you played baseball, then you played football, and you played basketball, and it was just. But now it's year round. I mean, Tripp's playing basketball year round. I mean, Tally's playing soccer year round. I mean, and then of course then you try to battle volleyball in between that, and of course now I even look at my 6-year-old, and of course my kids, love to play sports. They always have. But I mean, now Trendon's playing on a travel soccer team as a 6-year-old, and we start, baseball Monday night, and we've been. So you're trying to,
we got to get him to Nashville to my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's very busy. I mean, the kids these days, it's so much more different than when I grew up.
It is. I don't know. We got in. I got in more trouble And so, yeah, it's crazy, and you wonder if it's ever going to end. And we're at that place where that it has. Well, it's crazy to be in two different cities, on a weekend, but it keeps them out of trouble.
Yeah.
Man, they've got to go to class. They've got to have the grades. There's so much that goes on. There's so much that's good about the sports family. So, yeah, I'll be praying for you as you continue to go. It is crazy, but we've got a lot to be grateful for from it. I know that, all of us.
Well, as a parent, how do you pick which basketball team or baseball team you want your kids to play on during the summer? How do you go about saying, okay, we're going to play on this team and go to these games, and what is that process?
Well, for me and Kelly, it's continually changing, and I have parents that have been involved. I mean, I was out of town last weekend. My wife was too, and my dad had to take Trendon to his soccer game. So I mean, it's a combination of your significant other, your wife, your family, everybody chipping in to help. But for us, I mean, like David said, there's been many times where Kelly's gone to a soccer game and I've taken a trip to a basketball game. I mean, you just have to split up and go, because if your kids want to play and they want to be a part of it and you want them to be a part of it, you try to make it happen. So I mean, there's many weekends where we'll be separated. Kelly will go one way, I'll go the other, and I'll take Trip, she'll take Tally, or I'll take Tally, she'll take Trip. So it's just a continuous grind, but it's a short time. I mean, it's flying by. I mean, I got two. I got one he'll be a junior next year, and he's a sophomore now. The time has flown by, and you don't want to miss it. I mean, if they enjoy doing it, they enjoy playing, you want to get them to what they're doing. But you're talking about how he plays and where he plays. I mean, and Dave would know this too. I mean, last year he played with a team called SI Select out of, it was more of a Southern Illinois, more of a Midwest team. Then he got approached this year about a team called Hoop Dreams out of Louisville. And so you go try out. I mean, they can ask you to come in. They ask him to come to the tryout. You go try out and you make the team. And he's going to play on the Hoop Dreams 16U team this summer. But it's a grind. I mean, we've got tournaments in Augusta, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Wisconsin, Las Vegas at the end of the year. So I mean, a lot of money, a lot of travel, a lot of time spent away. But again, you think about the grand scheme of things. It's a short period of time, and they want to do it. You go. We
play. Always thought that especially when we could all travel together, it was really special. Now, the days that I would take Noah and Leanne would go with Luke, or my mom or my dad, we did the same thing. But to be able to talk with your kid on a 4-hour trip, and we had a no headphones, no games policy, coming home, going down, they could, but to spend that time, there's not, if they didn't play anything and they were just at home, they'd be stuck in their room, and we got to spend time together. And I will forever believe that it's influenced their lives, and I hope that in a positive way, and I believe so. So it's valuable. It is. It's really valuable.
There's no doubt. I mean, you pretty good point. Like I said, my kids always enjoyed, going somewhere else, staying in a hotel. I mean, that was fun to them. I mean, actually, when they were younger, it was kind of neat to do that, to travel. And we've seen a lot of places. We've gone to a lot of places where, they might not have seen, if, like you said, I mean, if they hadn't been, involved in sports or athletics. So, it's a grind. I mean, it's definitely a grind, and it's very, very time consuming. But I mean, in my golf game,
I was going to ask. That was coming up. I said, when do you find time for golf?
I don't. I mean, for the last 2 or 3 years, it's been non-existent. Now, my 6-year-old, Trendon wants to play golf, so I've told him this summer we're gonna kind of go that route and start swinging that a little bit. Of course, he likes everything that the other two are doing too. So, but I mean, I always thought my oldest two would be my outlet. I'd keep going to invitational tournaments and playing golf. But again, you sacrifice something you love for your kids because of what they're wanting to do and where you want them to go. And like I said, I definitely think athletics has been going to be a huge part of my kids and how they, continue life. So it's you do what you do, for them. So I've put the golf clubs up for a couple years, but hope that they'll be coming out again soon.
Well, congratulations on your basketballing. I mean, to me, that's a big deal. Whether you're playing or officiating, you get to go do NAIA championships and work your way up in college basketball and Division I. So congratulations on that, and I'm glad we could get you in here and
Yeah,
talk about it.
I know we've talked about it for it seems like a couple of years of doing it, but I appreciate you bringing me in. Like I said, it's fun to talk about and enjoy being with these guys too and listening to them talk, because it's David doing what he's doing now is a big part of getting our kids developed to where, like I said, into the whatever sport they choose or whatever they choose in life. It's Youth Incorporated has been a big part of my kids and a big part of my life, as well. So
and your dad helped.
Yeah, my dad was,
forever
for a long time. Many days in the gym with him. So
I'm pretty sure I worked for your dad when I called games at the ballpark.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, he took care. He did the basketball for I don't know how many years. He took care of the ballparks. I mowed many a baseball field, growing up, with him out there. So it's been a good deal for. I've had friends that did that, worked at the ballparks during the summer, get the fields ready for the games, and that's something that's you remember for the rest of your life. So
It's work ethic. It's all of it.
Yeah.
It's part of being a community.
Yeah.
David, what else have you got for us?
Well, the season kicks off Monday, weather permitting, and we've got our fingers crossed. It's going to be a great night. We've made some significant changes. The kids' experience can only be as good as the coach. Mm-hmm. And so we've gone to some extreme measures to make certain that our coaches are as good as they can be with a volunteer system. So I want to congratulate Bobby Joe and you and Dwight and Kyle and all of the baseball softball committee. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for all your time and effort. But you'll see significant changes with the length of the season. People will feel like, we've had complaints that it's only been 8 games, and it's like, well, we didn't play many games. They're going to get their chance this year, and that's going to be a major change, and I think it's in the right direction. I'm going to go ahead and warn everybody that if you're going to be ugly at the park, you're not coming. You're not coming. And I'll personally escort. I may be little and all of that, but there's no place for ugliness at a park where there's kids, and we're not going to tolerate it. Those days are over. You're welcome to be passionate. You're welcome to be emotional. You're welcome to cheer, and we want as much of that as we can. But if you're going to be ugly and start yelling at the kids or yelling at the officials, then it's over. It's over. And you're going to run it for your kid, your grandkid, and, you'll have to find something else to do this summer. So we hope that it's a really good, wholesome family experience for all those that participate. And thank you to you, Todd. You make it happen out there, and we're grateful for it.
Well, thank you, and thanks for coming in today. And, we could go another half hour because I've got other things I wanted to talk about, but I think we've already run past our allotted time today.
You got to quit letting me come, man.
But a great show today, a busy show, and that's the way we like it. Thanks again, you guys, for coming in.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks to Caldwell County football coaches David Barnes and Jeff Riley and Waynie McGowan for coming in. Ford Branch Jr. in with us, and David Brown in the studio with us this morning. That's going to wrap up a busy Sideline Report. We thank you for listening. This is Todd Griffin of WPKY and YourSportsEdge.com. You've been listening to the Sideline Report on 1580, 103.3 WPKY.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY Princeton.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. Joe Biden, the